Survivor News. 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 We are back this week with your Survivor News. I am honored and excited to be joined with practically a college graduate.
Ooh.
Or 0.1 left to submit, and then our baby boy feels like my child. I remember when he was in my uterus. We have Jack, almost graduate, Atkins from the Circle and the Floor is Lava, and from the almost alma mater, University of Chicago. Jack, how are you feeling?
Brice, thank you for that introduction. Feeling so good. I've been looking forward to this podcast, A, to break down the episode, but B, because I knew I would be pretty much done with all my college work. So I've been, getting studious the last few days, finishing up all my stuff, and now we're pretty much home free. So it's just great to be here and talk to you guys and enjoy the moment.
Yes. And when you get some time, Purple Pants Posse, make sure you head over to Jack Atkins' Instagram or Twitter and show him some graduation love. And of course, to complete the Survivor News trio, we are joined none other than the HGTV host, winner of Ghost Island, owner of Beeve Unlimited. And if you was at the Sixers game the other day, or you checked the Sixers Instagram, y'all saw their spotlight.
Whoa.
Although the comment said it was the bull in the red hat. And of course, the first merge boot of Winners at War. Welcome back, Wendell Holland.
We out here. Let's go. What up, Perp? What up, Jack? Good to be back.
Wait, you were on the Sixers Instagram?
He was not alone.
Go ahead. And Perp was on it too.
Is this a feed post?
It's right in the feed.
It's the main feed.
Do you see it, Jack?
I need to find this.
All right, scroll. You don't even got to scroll that far back.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they do post a lot.
They post a lot.
They post a lot.
How many days ago was it?
It was last Saturday.
Last Saturday. So that's like 5 days ago.
Jack, I'm texting it to you.
And please
I need to
excuse
see
this Survivor News break while Jack Atkins scrolls up on the Philadelphia Sixers page where Wendell Holland. Oh,
hey!
I missed the dunk though.
Promoting the business too? Wait, that's going on the story real quick. Ooh.
Oh. Come on, Jack Atkins.
Thanks.
But yes, Wendell and I are back we just got off of a family cruise. Okay. Mm-hmm. So much fun.
Brice was acting up. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I was not acting up. Although I did fall in love. I tend to fall in love everywhere I go. But in other news, Wendell and I, we only had one brief fight, which wasn't even a fight. But your baby boy had to pull up on Wendell, knock on his cabin door, and said, "What's the problem? Get somebody else to do it."
What was the fight about?
It wasn't the truth of the matter.
Was he cock blocking?
No, the truth of the matter is
I remember
when DZ felt some type of way that I was hanging out with other people, and he wanted to hang out with me, and that's really what the truth of the matter is.
Damn.
I don't ever want to hang out with Brice Isaiah. The truth of the matter is he just didn't tell his boy, "Hey, Gwen, I ain't trying to hang with you today." All right, cool. That's what's up. Instead of me waiting around all day and all night, waiting around for Perp. Instead, just communicate. That's all.
Well, how would you communicate if I can't call you?
One, you can't call me. Two, you were blowing up the room phone all night. I'm waking up
because I called one time.
So you blow up the room phone
once,
and you got the internet package, and you got the drink package. We all know that. And you could have called me on the internet package or on my room phone, but instead you decided to ghost me all day and all night.
That was a lie, Jack. But I did go out almost every night. But the first night, it was just, you know how when your nights.
Yeah.
You know, like
It was a noche.
it was a not. It was yes. It was a noche, and I wasn't like on my phone, like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it
He
just
didn't think
was like
about his broche.
Whoa. No, I feel you. The truth is always somewhere in the middle.
no, but
I heard Wendell went up to Brice at the club and said, "Hey," and Bryce said, "Who are you?"
no.
Exactly. He played me.
Nah, I'm
That's a
playing. I'm
lie.
playing.
That's a lie. Although
Bryce is with his new friends.
I wasn't even. I was with family. That's the thing. Anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
we was chasing a
Shout out.
zaddy on the boat. Okay,
You
Chasing a zaddy.
shout out to the zaddy, and I believe his birthday is today. So listen, we're gonna wish what was
How
his
you know
name?
that?
What's his name?
'Cause-
What's his name?
His name is Chris. We can shout Chris out. It's his birthday. Oh, I follow him on Instagram. I got the tea. Anyway, we're here for Survivor News.
Where's he from? Where's he from?
He's from Florida. We're gonna see him at Hearts of Reality because I'm inviting him.
Oh!
And I invited our other friends from the cruise too. They're coming.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, can we get on with this? Can we get on with the show, Brice? I'm tired of
Yes. Sorry, but anyway, it was a great cruise. We spent time. Miss Barb had a grand old time. Wendell's family had fun. Wendell's dad, senior, was senioring. Wendell tried to play basketball real quick. Jack Wendell was playing basketball with my Chris. And
this. Don't tell
Yeah.
people that I was playing basketball. I had
oh yes.
4 more months of recovery.
Well, I mean, he wasn't really playing basketball. It was more
He's
like
shooting around.
yeah.
You know
I mean,
how
I won.
you definitely didn't.
I won the game against your boo. We played 21.
Can you
All right.
do something for me?
Hey.
Anyway, Survivor News in honor of Jack graduating or almost graduated, or he got one group project left that he has to submit.
I'm gonna let him moderate.
We're gonna let Jack
Wow.
Atkins.
I really earned this one. 4.5 years of hard work, all to this.
Oh, but wait, sorry, Jack.
Nah, you good.
And mind you, if anyone's ever been on a cruise before, I still feel like I'm on a cruise. My body is constantly like, I don't know if it's the drink package.
Did you wet the whistle recently?
No, I haven't drunk since the cruise, but
As he sips his wine, for those who don't see the video.
but before we get into Survivor News, you know, Brice and Jack presents the Tour 43. We've got 2 stops left. We are heading to Washington, D.C. next Wednesday. Make sure you check out our Brice and Jack Present Instagram for all of the updates regarding all of our parties. And then we are heading to L.A., not for the finale, but for Jack's graduation. But listen, the finale is finaleing, okay? If you like The Mole, if you like Amazing Race, if you like Survivor, if you like Love Island, if you like The Challenge, if you like Survivor Season 43,
Ooh.
Oh.
you might want to be pulling up. You might want to be pulling up to our finale party. And it's going to be, if you like Big Brother.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
The
word
Mole.
on the block if you like The Circle, and if you liked Jack, and if you liked his partner from The Circle. I mean, listen, it's going to be an epic time. We've got DJ Caution going to be there, so you know the vibes are going to be right. Tickets are available, but listen, y'all know I say this about the Brice Isaiah 2023 Zaddy calendar, which is flying off the shelves. We greatly appreciate you. Y'all show love for that Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
Listen, when DZ, you tell them, because I feel like they not gonna believe me if I tell them.
Oh, I'm gonna tell him.
Tell him.
What am I supposed to tell him, Brice?
It's not that many tickets left.
Oh, yeah. We're sold out of early bird. We're sold out of general. We have a very few amount of late admission, and we have a few amount of VIP. I think we have less than 25 tickets left to sell. So, and this venue will sell out, and we can't let anyone else in.
Yeah. And listen, we putting a lot of TLC into these VIP packages. So I'm just saying, okay, Wendy's and I had a fight over that as well.
Yeah.
But when you get the VIP package, you'll know that I won. But okay, listen, you know, Brice and Jack presents the tour We're coming. Click the link in my bio, Wendell's bio, or just go to Jack's bio and say happy graduation.
Can we talk about the episode?
And for those watching real quick, for those watching the YouTube, the poster for LA is even updated. So the list goes on and on. So
oh yeah, that's right. That is right.
Head over to Brice and Wendell's Instagram and look at the updated poster. There's too many faces on there to even count. It's gonna be
Jack. Tricky yelled at us the other day. He said, "I can't physically add any more people after this last edit."
Wow.
But he fit Chappelle in. Oh, we got Chappelle from RHAP will be coming. Okay, the podcast is coming out.
Brice, did we even tell him what we were doing before?
I mean, I feel like that might be something you got to come to see.
All right, so we will have activities before you guys even watch the show. There will be stuff going on in the venue.
Yeah. Sweet. I didn't even know that.
It's something you would.
We got some challenges.
Jack will win.
Jack's gonna come.
They're gonna have me doing last gasp in the bathroom sink.
Ew. All right. I think there was an episode this week.
Yeah, there was. And thank you for letting me moderate. So first off, we get back to camp after the recent elimination of Noel. And pretty quickly, there's a little bit of paranoia about where the votes were because it was not a unanimous vote. It was 5-3, I believe, with Owen and Sammy voting for Carla. Or I'm sorry, no, it was 5-2 to 1. And Owen and Sammy were the only 2 votes for Carla. And Carla asked, who voted for me? And Sammy lies and says that it wasn't him and that it must have been Gabler. And everyone was like, nah, I don't know about that. So then he takes a lap and comes back. He's like, all right, it was me. It gave a pretty terrible justification for that. But yeah, he kind of blew up his game there. What did you guys think about how Sammy dealt with the post-tribal?
When Sammy spun the block and came back and was like, I'm going to just be real with y'all. You can't be real with us when we already know.
Yeah.
Bro, I got flashbacks from just last week, okay? So Sammy, he told them his story, and then, like Brice said, he spun the block. In my case, when I was getting on this cruise, I snuck about 50-ish of those little alcohol bottles in my bag. Hey. Okay, them little nips, the little airplane size?
Yeah.
I took them one by one. I had Ciroc, the different flavors, like pineapple, mango, all that. I had Casamigos. I had Tito's. I had some,
How are they in your bag?
Huh?
How are they in your bag?
Oh, I'm getting there. I had all these nips that I had accumulated over the last 5 months.
When being frugal and cheap go wrong, but go on. Because
I didn't get the drink package. Okay, whatever. I spent $150 on a bunch of little nips instead of spending $400 plus.
I didn't spend $400 plus on a drink package.
So, Jack, I take them. I don't want them. They're glass bottles. I don't want them to break in my bag. So each individually, I wrap with paper towels, and then I put it each in a Ziploc bag. Then I roll my outfits. So I'll put them in a pocket of some jeans, and I'll roll it up. Multiply that by about 50.
Have you ever gone through an airport before, Jack?
I have.
And when you put your bag through that scanner, if you put it through invisible paper towels and then put it in an invisible Ziploc bag, and then if you roll it up in your jeans, is the machine going to be able to see that?
Well, do they have a machine on the cruise?
We're traveling international, so it's like customs. It's not even a TSA. It's customs. So just because you're a college graduate at this point, Jack, so would the machine be able to see that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Wendell, continue.
Okay, so I've done this before, and maybe they haven't caught me before. Maybe it's because I used plastic bottles. Anyway, so I roll them up and I stuff them in all my pockets. It's all over my bag. It's in my toiletry bag. It's in my swim trunks. It's in my jean shorts, my jorts. It's everywhere, right? And my jorts. You have a pair. You have a pair of my jorts.
That's the real crime.
Okay, wait.
They should have thrown me off the boat. Brice, you have a pair of my jorts.
Jack, do you know what a jort is?
He does.
Yeah, it's like a jean short.
Okay.
I'm not saying I support it. I'm just.
I have jean shorts. I just don't call them a jort. But anyway, also, Jack, let me just tell you this. The cruise was delayed hours because of fog. So the lines to get in are outrageous. And then continue your story, Wendell.
Okay. So basically, when I get to the front and I scan it through, the guy, he sees the screen. He looks, he gets his homie who's the enforcer. He gives him a little look, a little nod. They see the screen. They take my bag off of the conveyor belt and put it on the next conveyor belt which has no line.
Check it separately, yeah.
Yes.
But thousands of people try to get through these conveyor belts. But continue.
There are thousands of people, right? And I am just one conveyor belt over. So he can really like embarrass me right now. He's like, hey man, you got a bunch of the little bottles of alcohol in your bag. I'm like, and this is the Sammy part.
This is the same look.
Like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? I don't. He's like, I can run it again. I did not want him to run it again and really make a scene. So I'm like, all right, bro, you got me. I got a couple bottles in there. He said, you got more than a couple. You got a lot. So then I proceeded to start one by one, going in my pants, my shorts, my jorts, taking them all out, giving them to him. He's like taking it out of plastic, unwrapping them, and just sitting them all on top of the conveyor belt in front of 10,000 people. And I'm like also trying to make small talk with them. Like, well, I got 2 big bottles in my other bag, but I thought I was allowed. He's like, you got big bottles. Let me see. It's 2 wine bottles. You are allowed to have wine bottles. So I'm trying to
compromise with them.
Yeah. He's like, nah, you're allowed to have wine bottles. After I talked to him a little bit, he got me for about 15 of my bottles, but he didn't rerun it. So I had 24 left. So I was still good.
The funnier part about it is, Jack, I was maybe about an hour and a half behind Wendell, and I was with like my mom and my stepdad, and we got up there. His little bottles were still up there. My stepdad was like, somebody was trying to get some stuff on, not knowing that it was Wendell. Okay.
Well, that's my story. That's how I felt like Sammy, because I felt like I tried to say a lie. It didn't work. So then I had to quickly be like, yo, you got me, and mitigate those damages.
It sounds like you did a bit of a better job than Sammy at the end of the day. But yeah, he tries to come up with a lie, which, I don't hate the idea of it, but when your reputation in the game at this point is someone who's very willing to lie and make moves, like, it's just not going to work out when you try to pin it on a gambler who is the last person anyone would expect to pull a big move like that.
Now, how did I get in it? Now you see that?
Yeah, I will say the next day, Sammy does, seem to compose himself a little bit, plant some seeds of doubt with Carla that Cassidy might be, looking at her as a target. So I think he does reel it back in a little bit and give himself a chance, but definitely a very, very sloppy job by Sammy. But, compare that to the other big conversation after Tribal was Owen, who talks about how he has not been on the right side of a vote basically since the first vote of the season when Mariah went home. Owen's a smart guy. He's a strategic player, and so I could feel his frustration where you're trying everything you can, and you're, people like Owen, it seems like, but for some reason he just can't get himself any numbers, and he's frustrated about that. But I think 2 things to discuss are A, Carla doesn't really seem that unhappy with him. It's almost like an accepted thing that Owen just never knows what's going on right now, so no one's really mad at him. And B, Gabler comes to him with, a desire to work together and maybe go to the end. So where do you guys think about Owen's prospects right now?
This is what I would say about Owen, and I would love to. I got a question for y'all within this question. I understand people's willing and wantingness to always be on the right side of the vote, right? Mm-hmm. But I also feel like, and I love me some my curmudgeon Owen, But isn't it something to be said if you could, or if you got to the end? Like, I would be like, y'all left me out of everything and I'm still here. Like, I really wish I could, like, they would fly me in so I could just like go in Owen's ear and be like, Owen, like, you're still here. You still, like, you're at the final 7 at this point. Like, you could slide in somebody's conveyor belt and they won't see your nips.
I'm just gonna blow the whistle on that. but
that's got layers to it.
Yeah.
Double on, triple entendre. So, Brice, what I'll say to that is, if you stay on the wrong side of everything the whole time and you're essentially just dragged to the end, I think that might not be as respected. In Owen's case right now, though, with winning immunities and things that he's done, like, he's proven himself, and yeah, all of his allies keep getting picked off, and he's always on the wrong side of the votes. But I still, at this point, I do still see a path to the end and a path to winning for him. However, if the whole time, like, even from here out, it's just, we're almost going to forcefully goat him. I think that in that case, I don't think that there's an argument at the end. But if he continues to win immunities and if he starts shaking things up, I can see him getting to the end and winning.
Absolutely. And I also feel a goat is a state of mind. But I'll just leave that there. Quick fast forward, because in the sense of the Owen talk, when he was talking to Jesse, and Jesse was trying to rope him in, and Jesse was like, "Yeah, I don't know why they keep keeping you out the vote. You the one who be keeping them out of it, Jesse."
Yeah.
Okay, that just came to my mind, but I was just like,
well, what's the alternative? I don't know why I keep keeping you out of the vote.
I mean, I'm just saying, but like, again, Owen went with it, and I was just like, it's Jesse. But anyway, y'all know I'm mad at Jesse, so I'm filing a divorce, and I'm trying to get perp attorney from him because I want to maintain my lifestyle.
Perp attorney,
alimony, perpimony, okay.
You're trying to get pepper. You're trying to get Jesse's pepperoni. Self whistle
and the nips
on the conveyor belt.
Okay. Editor, please
keep it.
But yeah, I mean, I think to y'all's points, I mean, look, I think when, like, Brice, you were saying, if he's continuously left out of the vote, I mean, I would be surprised because I do think Owen has a lot of the tools that you need to play a good Survivor game, and that's why he's so frustrated. Is it just hasn't, like, worked out for him so far. But if that trend continues, especially when the numbers are smaller and it's, like, easier to manage, I don't really think you have a case to win if you can't be in the numbers at, like, final 5. But to what Wendell was saying, I do think right now he's such an underdog, and I think at some point he's also going to realize, if he hasn't already, that, you know, early in the merge there was a big alliance that had no reason to rope him in. But if he could pivot, you know, right now he's sort of at a pivot point. If he could start using his underdog position to start getting into votes and making moves without being a big target, I think he could go to the end and say, like, hey, like, you know, coming from the 3-tribe split, like, we were immediately on the outs at the merge. Y'all had your alliance, fine, but I was able to survive and finagle my way into, you know, getting deeper in the game, where I was then able to make some power plays and, you know, end up sitting next to a Gabler or, like, someone like that who you might have a good chance against. So, yeah, I think that's a good point, where I'm interested to see, you know, he could play the rest of the game and I could see him winning, or I could see him getting 0 votes at the end or going home along the way, you know?
But I think he has the tools and the knowledge to be able to maneuver moving forward. So yeah. I have very high hopes for my curmudgeon, for my Cur Owen.
Yeah.
So do I.
Next up, we've got we've seen this a couple times where, you know, a boat pulls up for the first time in, you know, 15, 20 days, and they get a letter or a note that just says there is an advantage hidden on your island or in the jungle, I think it was, and everyone just immediately splits off and goes and looks for it. Keep the story short. The advantage is just dangling right at eye level on a tree, and we see like 5 minutes of people like looking directly past it, walking by it, and it's not until Cody literally goes and just leans on the tree, like not even knowing it's there, that he turns his eyes while he's talking to Gabler and just sees it right in front of him, and suavely is able to hide it and secure the advantage. But I want to ask you guys, what, and so the advantage, we'll get to that. I guess. What did you guys think? What do you guys think about these? These instances where an advantage is hitting your jungle, everyone runs off, just in general. And then what did you guys think about this particular segment where it's hidden in plain sight almost, as just like Gabler?
Get somebody else to do it. I didn't like it. I feel like in previous seasons, and I almost feel like on my season, Kagiyan, I like when people a natural idol hunt happens. I think that is like interesting. I don't like when you read in a clue and then it says, there's a new idol at the thing, go, and then like I don't know. Like, it just like, for me, it's like, okay, y'all trying.
It's a little forced.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
And also, you're not a fast runner, so
don't do that.
Everyone will be there before you.
That.
So, I thought this was a fun segment. I thought the way they showed people so close to it was just hilarious, and how no one saw it. And I guess naturally, when you think something's hidden, you want to look down at stuff.
Yeah, or up even, but you're not.
But you're not eye level. That's like, and so just to see so many people pass it, I almost wonder how they attached it to the tree, because there wasn't rope or anything around the tree.
I think there was some rope.
It looked like a nail.
I think there might have been maybe like a nail, and then there was like rope, almost like a picture hanging. I think. But
it looked like Cody snatched it. I just was dying when Gabler was like, "Do you guys want to work together?"
They were like lurping.
Yes. So everybody, let's get our lurk on.
I think it was.
You look to the left. You look to the right. I'll look up, but you gotta walk. We used to do this back in my day.
I don't see anything.
You gotta keep looking.
What are we doing?
Oh, hey, Cody. Are you lurping too, Cody?
I'm just living.
What's that? How's that tree you're leaning on? Is that pretty comfortable?
How about? Go ahead, Brice.
No, go ahead, Wendy.
All right. When he's leaning there, who was he talking to?
Cody. I mean, Gabler. And Gabler was saying how frustrated he was about not finding.
And he in mid-sentence. Cody, if you ask me, I thought Cody was kind of cool with it because he was talking, and he finds it, and then he just keeps talking. I'm like, okay, Cody.
Yeah,
I had to rewind that.
That just made me a little frustrated because I wouldn't have been able to do that, in the sense that I could have found it, but like if I was talking to y'all and I felt it, like I'd have been like,
you'd be like, 1 second.
All right, y'all, I'm gonna call y'all later.
I'm gonna just be over here.
I gotta pee, guys.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, Cody was smooth with it.
What were your thoughts on the actual, like, did you like this, what they call it?
The choose your champion advantage?
Choose your champion advantage, where if you win the immunity, you're safe. But you can guess a person to win, and if they win, you win. What are y'all thoughts?
And you don't really know what the challenge is going to be. Except
I think it told him the challenge.
It told him what it was.
It's called Last Gasp. He knows that, but you don't necessarily know that it is this particular challenge unless you know.
Owen would have knew it, and I'm pretty sure if Jack were out there and saw it, he would have knew it.
Do you think Cody knew that this was the challenge coming up?
Yeah, because I think he said
holding your breath, or at least.
No, I think Cody said like every Survivor fan knows like this is a classic challenge. And I was like, okay, Cody, I didn't know you were watching back to season 16, but
I sure wasn't.
That's true. I guess if they didn't describe the challenge, it is nice that there was a bit of an advantage for the fans who would have known what the challenge was. But yeah, Wendell, I'm trying to collect my thoughts on Brice's question. What are your thoughts on the advantage?
Do I like the advantage of someone being able to have their own shot at immunity and also be able to predict someone else that might win in order for them to get immunity with that person? In this case, where you have the numbers dwindling, you have multiple idols out there. To add this, which adds another immune person to it, I think that it sets us up for what could be another advantage getting. But generally speaking, I do think that this is a cool thing to have in there, maybe with a little more numbers than, what are we at, 7 now?
Mm-hmm.
So I take it back. It's not that I don't like the actual advantage. And I like them doing it in small numbers because it can rattle the cage. I think the thing that I didn't like was when he had to give it to Jeff at the thing. Jeff spills the tea and says everything. I just would have liked it if he gave the Jeff. Jeff said, okay, Cody found the idol, and like left everyone in suspense. I don't know. I just felt
as in they didn't know what his advantage was at all. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple. I think that ties into sort of my thoughts on it, where I think as a advantage itself, it's pretty reasonable. I don't think it's like the most interesting necessarily. Like we don't even know who he wants to root for. It's kind of just like he's spinning the wheel. But I think the big thing that I think what really we see with this advantage is that the product of this advantage being in the game, it might not match sort of the intent of why it was put in the game. Because I think when you say that it's gonna when especially like Brice was saying, when Jeff tells everyone what the advantage that Cody found is and says that it's gonna be announced after the votes are read, in everyone's mind there's a good chance he's gonna be immune. So even if it doesn't really matter whether the advantage is played correctly or not, it's just like him having it basically makes him immune. Which I don't really know if I like very much because it doesn't matter if he makes the right choice. It's basically just like, well, if everyone knows that there's a good chance you are immune, no one's going to vote for you to begin with if they don't know.
That's so true.
I don't love that. The one thing I would say off of that I was thinking about during the episode and I would have liked to see that would have made it a little bit more exciting for me is I think that during the challenge or honestly whenever, Cody could have
Use it as leverage.
Presented the advantage in a way that would cover. So my sort of thinking was, say he's watching the final two from the bench, and he has Owen obviously, but say he just acts real smooth. He's like, you know what, guys, like I got Carla, so I'm rooting for Carla. Then if Carla wins, everyone's gonna think you're gonna be safe, and then if Owen wins, people won't think that you're safe. They might vote for you, but you actually will be safe, and so. You're able to spread your cards a little bit and be a little deceitful and give yourself even more safety and leverage that safety to cover yourself more.
That's so brilliant. I think someone that would do something like that is a Jesse. I think Jesse's just such a smart guy, and he's always looking for a different player to target or a different motivation. I think I'm like, every time he comes up with a new plan, I'm just like, wow, like, even if it doesn't come to fruition, I'm just, in my head, just like, this guy, Jesse, is always thinking a different angle.
I mean, I love Jesse, and I do think that he is amazing, but I mean, every season of Survivor, when somebody says somebody's name, they always go for somebody else, so, but.
Brice?
I'm Wendell.
When they said your name.
They split the votes. So I'm just saying. But
they said your name.
Okay, but they split the votes.
Wait, what? I'm confused. What does that have to do with Jesse?
Okay, I don't know, but if he was
that's to Jesse, not Jeremiah.
No, there's nothing to do with Jesse. I love Jesse, but I'm just saying Wendell's point don't really make sense to me. He's like, I love Jesse. every time they say something, he's like, well, you could do
You
it
know
this
what?
way.
Well,
That's every season of Survivor.
no.
Jack.
What I was gonna say, that
But
I
I love
think
Jesse.
I
It's cool.
not to defend Wendell too much, but I think this Wendell's point reminds me, and this actually might. I hate to say it, Wendell. This was like a vote in Ghost Island that you weren't a part of.
Mm?
Is when when they blindsided, who was it, Morgan?
Yeah, they got her.
They had laid out the options. James and his squad had basically laid out like, hey, we could go with like Wendell and Dom and make this vote, or we can make this other vote. And I remember James saying like, well, what's plans? Like there's an option C here that it's not black and white. We could do something now that we know where the votes are going on our own and make a move like getting out of Morgan. Or as Jesse, like you were saying, Jesse thinks about it like, all right, here's option A and here's option B. But now that I know what those options are, is there a plan C that can kind of emerge and be a even more creative move?
That should always be a player's question if they know where the votes are going.
Yeah.
If I know where plan A, I like how you put it, even though I was on the wrong side of that in Ghost Island.
But this is another thing that I will say, because again, I do agree with Wendell and I do agree with you, Jack. But you have to have the right people to be able to do that. And this is what I think is so unique about this season is that they really all are free agents where you don't really know where the votes are going. And again, why I am turning up for this season of Survivor so much, because most of the time in past seasons, it's like people go with the safe vote, and then you got the one person advocating to be like, oh, we could do this, and everyone plays it safe. So like that is why I love this season a lot, because it's like they all playing the game and they all talking to everybody.
But they're very safe still, I have to say. Like,
right.
None of these creative moves that have been presented have actually happened.
But that's because they ain't been listening to Owen.
It's true. I mean, but I do like the point that you're making, though, where I think that speaks to what I see as like sort of the root of good Survivor gameplay is like you could be the most strategic person out there, but if you don't have the social capital to make those ideas actually happen, like you could see every great move possible, but you need the numbers, and so that's why it's such a social game, because you need the numbers to support your strategy.
They had the numbers on the first merge at when is that war?
You're right, Brice. You're right. They had the number.
Anyways, so we already talked about a little bit, just thinking about potential strategies with this advantage. But obviously now we're getting into the challenge itself. The last gasp challenge, last gasp challenge, a Survivor classic. One of my favorite challenges that I'm so glad that they brought it back. Basically, Survivor version of waterboarding, which is a little bit insane, but we see this classic challenge brought back, and then obviously we end up seeing an epic battle between Owen and Carla, and I gotta throw in Cassie's name in there. She was hanging around for quite a while as well before she ended up dropping out. But Owen and Carla end up outlasting the tide, and because the tide's going down, basically the option now there's no struggle with any of the swells, so they kind of have no choice but to reward both players with immunity. And obviously we see that Cody picked Owen, so he is also immune at this point. So I want to ask your guys' thoughts on the challenge in general. Like, what do you think of the last gasp challenge? And then what do you think specifically in this episode about the choice to give both players immunity?
I love this challenge. If I was on Survivor, I would have killed it. Okay. Every day in Wendell's old apartment, I used to practice this challenge in his bathtub. Like, I'm a bath person. What? I soak in the bathtub. Like, I literally will like just leave my nose out and just be. So I think I would have done extremely well. But I just love this challenge. I like, because it's like you really get to see when you watch the episode, people that like, somebody like Cody, who's a swimmer, who lives in Hawaii. you think that you can handle your breath under the water, but once you get that and they go in
Yeah.
your nose and then
Yeah.
burn and then like you can't release it,
It's a whole different level of
it's a
yeah.
whole like different Frank Sinatra. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I really do love this challenge. When
And
the go ahead, sorry.
I do want to amend my question real quick because I before we get to the the thoughts about having two winners, I want to ask like you talked about your thoughts on the challenge, but I want to ask what your strategy would be because I think there's so many different strategies, Brice. So before we get to Wendell, Brice, what's your strategy if you were chilling under there?
So my first strategy is I'd put my foot on the thing. Hold, wait. Hold on, wait.
Oh no!
Brice is just lost. Yeah.
We lost Brice. His video is on the spindle thingy now. It looked like, was he wearing pants, Jack? I don't think.
I think he had at least some boxers on, but I think he put his feet up to show how he would do the challenge, and he kicked his computer connection or something. So,
oh man, Brice done broke the internet.
how do you do that?
We're talking about them breaking the challenge, and this guy kicks his computer. But I'm almost convinced that Brice was not wearing any pants. And yeah,
I might need to get edited out. I don't know.
He started screaming.
While we wait for him to come back, what do you think of the challenge as a fan? And then if you were to do this challenge, what would your strategy be?
As a fan, I think Survivor did a great job capturing, because as a viewer, I felt claustrophobic. I felt short of breath. I felt like I was underwater. And I think that they did a good job showing how difficult this challenge is. So kudos to them for the edit. I think in the challenge, I wouldn't.
Brice, what happened?
Does that mean I got eliminated?
Talk about you do well at
You
it.
practiced in the bath for years. What happened? You put your feet up, you kicked your computer over, or what?
I kicked the whole thing down.
And Brice, can you just, for everyone watching on YouTube, are you wearing anything on your bottom half?
You saw that?
Do you have pants on or anything?
Wait, did y'all see?
I didn't see anything. Wendell's making accusations.
Brice, stand up.
But it's a good question because I think it did zoom past, so I wasn't looking. But for the YouTube viewers, we might need a little edit.
Okay, we're gonna have to get a blur.
Evan, watch that part over again, please.
Make sure there's no alligabler.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Brice.
Yeah, Brice. Back to you. What you don't have to show us, but what would your strategy be?
So I'd have put my leg on the
Oh
thing.
no.
He's doing it again.
I'm not touching it. And then I would have grabbed the crate, and then I would have smashed my face in it. And that's just what I would like. That's it. And when the water comes, it's really about holding your breath. So that's it's like you have to hold your breath until you know that you can breathe again. The mistake that people make is they hold their breath, the water swells, and they panic and they go to breathe and you're still underwater. It's like, trust me, I when I tell you I do this all the time, my bad, I really do. I really do. You just have to hold your breath. And
clearly
keep
you
calm.
have to hold your breath.
Jack, do you understand my strategy? What I'm saying is that it's more about breath control, and you have to stay calm while you are doing that. Oh, not my neighbor texting me. Is everything okay? It sounded like something crashed. Are you okay?
No.
Let him know you're good, I guess.
Hold on. Can you?
We can't see it.
It sounds like.
Are you okay? Yeah, no, I just kicked my whole
How do I explain that?
over.
Yeah, I was showing my strategy for the last gasp challenge.
Podcasting injury.
No, I know what you mean. Like, I think, that isn't my, part of my strategy, I think, would be, you have to time out your breathing, with the swells, like it's just as fine at times. I feel like to just go completely underwater and wait till the swell comes, and then pop up, get a breath, and you could go back underwater. Whereas if you constantly try to breathe and you get a big mouth of water, it just messes up your whole flow.
And it's like I was ready to send a search party for you, but it was the scream at the end.
Is this your upstairs neighbor?
Yes. The one with the dog. No, but yeah, you're right, Jack, though. But honestly, it's more about like sometimes you just have to go under, like, and be prepared to like hold your breath for like 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But
what if you go under? What if you're hanging out under, and then when you go up, that's when the swell is coming?
That's
what I was saying.
Well, what would you do?
You would prepare
if you go under, how do you know where the swell is at?
You just go under, and then it's just like you just have to like hold your breath. But like
great
you have
strategy.
To, like, no, but you have to. You will know, and also like I will be holding my nose as well. So it's like,
so you would go under, and then you would pop up, but keep holding your breath, and then wait until you have a moment.
Correct. Or when it is high tide, because a lot of them are like this, holding their nose. I'm just holding my nose until I feel that it is clear, but preparing for the long hold.
Got you. That's fair. Because I guess you're right. Sometimes when it's clear, people might take a small breath and like want to get more in a second, and then it might not be clear.
And then that's when that's the worst is when you are trying to go get your breath and it go that's when you start to panic. Yeah, because I've done that as well in the bathtub.
Brice, where do you get all the swells in your bathtub?
He kicks the water.
Have you never made a wave?
Are you saying that you toot?
No, you rock the water until you can get the water like rocky.
Brice, you're not allowed to do this in my new bathtub, okay?
Please. And first of all, I already saw what it looked like, and I'm excited. Okay.
It's a great spot for the challenge.
No, but his old apartment, baby. Now that bathtub was great for it. Because it wasn't that it was so deep, Jack. It was just like I've never been in such a long bathtub. It just was like so amazing.
Brice, next time you do it, you should bring like a baking tray.
Oh yeah,
with like the grates in it.
I will do it because listen, when Wendell was filming Winners at War, baby, 3 times a day.
You were in there alone, and that's messed up.
What? Don't be disrespectful. I was with your plants watering them.
You a lie, because Sebastian's coconut died under your watch.
And that's not true.
That was
Wendell. What would your strategy be?
My okay, I'm claustrophobic. I'm a good swimmer, but staying under the water under a grate the thought alone petrifies me. So I'm not gonna act like I'm Brice and I practice and this, that, and in the bathtub because I can hold my breath, and all you gotta do is go under and hold your breath. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say,
if you scared, say you scared.
Owen, Carla, Cassidy. Cassidy was over there for an hour plus. The other two were even longer. So, like, there's no chance. I'd probably be 10 minutes in and it's a wrap for me. For real, for real.
Sure.
But what I will say is I do have some thoughts about them stopping the challenge and crowning 2 winners.
Can I hit you with my strategy real quick?
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
So, what we've seen in I might have practiced in the bathtub a little bit too back in the day, but what we've seen in past seasons that we didn't see this season, and so it really surprised me that they like beat the record because they didn't even do this. I think I agree with some of the points Brice made. I think that's an important thing, but I think you got to make like a snorkel shape with your hands.
Cody kind of did it a little.
He did it to like, but it wasn't consistent. Like he would like bring it and then like get rid of it and then like bring it back.
It was right when he did it at the worst time, like when he was like, but.
And so I feel like if you could get a pretty good, based on when I did actually kind of practice it, if you could get like a good like fit, you could block out. Well, I don't know. It's hard to. You gotta like. lace your fingers well together and like wrap it around and everything. But I mean, really, it's just like at
Do
the
you put
base.
your mouth over it or in it?
Oh
Relax,
my
relax.
No,
god.
I'm trying to.
I think it's like a snorkel, basically. I'd
So
say
you make a suction with your lips around it.
whatever. I mean, whatever floats your. I actually don't know exactly how I would do it, and
How
I'm
would
not
you?
about to give an example, Brice. So you can relax. Um, but
Because I can
uh,
make a suction.
you might win. This might be the challenge you're winning. But I feel like having tried it, it's like you could keep out like water above like
Mhm.
so I feel like that's the best move. And then like you said, if you need to hold your breath, you hold your breath, and then when you pop up, you just like quickly, I think, release all the air in your lungs, like blow it out kind of like Cody did, and then you can inhale really quick and try to like get some air back. But I don't know, I feel like I could see myself doing well in this challenge, but I could also see myself freaking out a little bit, especially if you like get a a mouthful of water and you start to panic a little bit.
Would you? Never mind. Um,
But
no, but no. Also, no. Another thing is another good thing. Advice is have a song. Think of a whatever. Like for me, I would just be singing or reciting the whole Destiny's Child second album.
the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, like literally in my head, like I would be like,
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't it like
Because
just
you get pretty bored too.
yeah.
I also
Uh,
think like a small thing. I don't really know how much this could help you, but naturally, I think for the most part, the swell is coming in from the same direction, like from in the water going towards the shore. So if you're lying like this and the swell is coming like this, it's probably more beneficial to sort of block, the direction that the swell is coming in from, and maybe you could block out some of the waves and kind of push them to the side. And then you could also feel sort of when the swell is coming in and know whether you could breathe or not.
Is this
you
coming?
always
Is this off the shore or is it like in the middle of the ocean?
well, it looked in the middle. I don't know about the middle, but it didn't look
Because
like it was
sometimes they
off the
take
shore.
you. Sometimes they'll take you
I mean,
out.
they look pretty fairly out, but I would reckon it's probably not as far as we think. Like, it's hard, but regardless, I
But
feel like the waves, for the most part, they come in the same way. Like, they're not all going like, unless it's really stormy and stuff.
where
But
where were where were they for Winners at War? Fiji, Wendell?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I was in the Philippines. Jack, where
I was in Manchester. I was at my local pool club. Um, you do this challenge in Kage on Price? No, they didn't have it in either season, so you're the bathtub expert with
I
this
mean,
one.
listen.
Yeah. But sorry, so to jump back, Wendell, you were asking another
Just
question about the challenge.
I mean, I'm just wondering what we think about Jeff based on the tide now lowering again. Jeff saying, "You know what? You broke the challenge. You both win." Do we have any thoughts on that?
So I did read Dalton Ross's article, and Jeff said that it was on the fly decision. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't know if he has an earpiece, but Jeff is the guy out there. So like I could see Jeff saying, you know what, I ain't trying to hang out here for
right,
another
Jeff, like the
hour.
sun going down. I want to
I'm
get,
good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing
Whereas
though.
young Jeff
Ooh, don't not
would
too
have been
much.
like, we
He had
out
the
here.
time.
Young Jeff had the time.
Family.
I mean, so it's a lot to take in. There was Randy Bailey had tweeted that he didn't like it and that he was like none of them won and essentially they both quit. And then Carla said
I don't know
she
about
could have been
that.
out there. She would have been out there all day. And then so Randy said,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? Then you win. Then Owen jumped in the comments on Twitter and said, well, actually, I would have had to leave because he had to poo. He had to do number 2.
You're in the water. I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying. I'm like,
AD.
Owen, aqua dump. And also, y'all not eating that much. No, that's a Hershey kiss.
and then kick it over to your opponent side. No, I mean, look, I think there's given how the challenge played out, I think that was a fine decision. Like with the tide going down, it's going to be another 10 hours until it gets to the same level that it
Right.
even was during the challenge. And who's to say that, if they already survived one high tide, they might survive another. So at that point, like you're not just going to have them sit there with the water at their neck and just breathe. Like that's even logistically it's not going to work. But my issue here is you should never be able, like the challenge should always be able to be designed that that's not going to happen. Like at some point you should have the level of the like obviously the challenge team went and measured, how high is the high tide. Just have the grate a foot below and start the challenge a little earlier, and eventually they're just going
You're
to be
totally
fully
under.
underwater. So
And then it's a breath holding contest.
yeah, and then it's a breath holding contest. So why are they teetering on this margin of like beatability when they really should just, if they started the challenge at 1 p.m. and high tide was at 2, just start the challenge at noon, move the grate down, and someone's going to win. Like it's really, I think that's more so a mistake on, the challenge department. Not to call them out, but I think given how it played out, fine to give two people the win. But if I'm one of the players that is not in the challenge, I'm going to be like, hey, like it's final 7. You just gave two people a win, kind of almost just because. Obviously, like, I could have been in there and won the challenge, but it should be a challenge where one person wins because two people at the final 7 hurts my odds pretty significantly. And Cody now has double the shot of winning immunity himself. So
Wow.
all of a sudden, like, if I'm
You change
someone who's
everybody's
not,
odds,
it
big
changes
time.
everybody. Like, for all we know, if the challenge went normal, Owen could or Carla could have won, and then Owen and Cody are now options, and the vote could have been completely different. And if I'm Sammy, I think that's something I would think about for a while after I get eliminated.
Regardless of the fact, though, whoever would have won, I still don't ever think the targets would have went to Cody because he could have just played it up the whole entire time.
Yeah,
Another thing that I thought of as to why maybe Jeff called it, they came out of the water freezing. Maybe they were scared of like hypothermia, like
yeah.
they were freezing. So would you have rather Jeff been like, all right, we're going back to basics, Carla, Owen, go under, and the last person to stay under?
I think that's not a bad idea. I thought you were going to say, would I rather they just battle it out for 10 hours? I wouldn't want that, but I do agree. Like when it gets down to that, I would think I would prefer, throw in a little twist and just test them a different way. And like you said, if you make them go underwater at the same time, like that would be a very interesting, also probably a super intense, like thing to watch as a viewer. Watch them, underwater for as long as they could push themselves. I think that's a good suggestion.
My strategy now might not be the smartest in that one, but I'm gonna just try to pass out.
Well, I mean that is like a risk. I think
I
they probably considered, as in like, but I think naturally your body, as soon as you get close, is gonna make you like surface for air. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
Like that's why. Well, I mean, it's a little like physically speaking, it's impossible to drown yourself because even if you wanted to, because your body will make you like go get air. But I know what you mean though, where if they did opt to do that sort of thing, it could be risky because some people might not like really
Right.
not want to come up, and like before they know it, they might pass out, and that's kind of a liability.
Yeah. No, I like the two winner things. I think it's interesting. I like having two people safe. I like having three people safe because it's Survivor, and takes me back to me being the first boot on my tribe, where honestly thinking I didn't really have much of a say. It wasn't really much I was going. Well, I'll take that back. The Brice then couldn't have done a lot then. And that was just the way the tide rolled for me. So, as a former player that the odds did not work out for me, I do not mind having three people safe. And now, guess what? Somebody's going home. That's the name of the game. And so,
But I know what you mean. But on the flip side of that, what if you were one of the people who didn't win immunity and now half your tribe was safe, and then maybe the target wasn't on you to begin with, but now you're the vote?
I,
Is
what
part
you?
of Survivor not having to survive the votes without safety? Like, it's not. It's not.
But see, now I don't want to go down. Now see, because I go down this road. Because I'm just saying, yeah, part of it, yes and no, but also it was like, well, I didn't have any safety on my tribe being a black gay man.
Sure.
So
No, I mean, I know. But say there was a challenge amongst the six of you, and LJ, you know, Jeffra and Alexis won immunity, and you might have been in say different tribe, different circumstances. You might have been in a good spot, and the target might have been, two of those people, and now all of a sudden you're the vote because half your tribe just won immunity.
I mean but that's sometimes how the tide rolls in Survivor. I feel like Survivor is a game of strategy, and it's also it's like playing craps.
True.
It's a numbers game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's how it goes sometimes, but that doesn't mean you could still have an opinion whether you like or dislike.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, that, in my opinion, is a part of the game.
Sure.
So you can't not like it and then be happy when I just feel like you got to go with the tide. The tide comes up and it comes down. Sometimes you might get washed away in it.
Yeah.
I was, as you saw my computer.
No, I know what you. I'm not trying to alter your opinion.
No,
for me, it's like I don't prefer it, but it's how the game goes. So it's like I think it could have been done better, whether that was designing the challenge a little bit differently or even doing what you suggested where they even end in like a holding your breath competition. But at the end of the day, like, I think given the circumstances, Jeff made a fine choice. So it's like, it is what it is. And if you're in the game, it's still, game on.
Yeah.
If I'm being real, I think Jeff got a little lazy.
Oh.
And I think that it could have very well turned into an endurance competition. And I think even though the tide was lowering, I still think that's an extremely uncomfortable position. And I think they could have continued to run it, and within however many hours, someone would have quit. So I think that they should have kept going.
Or I like whatever happened to in these type of challenges when the people start talking to each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Owen, that's what I wanted to kind of sort of like see if Carla and Owen would like
discuss
and maybe like, because that happens in times.
As the tide goes down, don't cut it within 15 minutes of it going down. Let them wait for an hour and wait them out so they will start talking.
Yeah, that's fair, because there's also sort of the psychological thing where it's like, if I think you're gonna go for 15 hours, why waste 14 of my own hours when I could just get out now? But I mean, I do think I know what you mean. That also I think would have been better TV to watch, but like logistically with the shortened season, they got 6 days left, I think, and 6 people to get rid of. If the challenge goes to midnight, it's throwing everything off.
The production team got a time. Okay, right. Yeah. The production team, listen, you ain't.
They could do tribal in the water.
All right.
But yeah, it was an interesting challenge. I like hearing your guys' thoughts on your strategies and just the way it shook out. Obviously, as we see, Owen and Carla both won immunity, making Cody safe as well. And so now we head back to camp. And there's sort of an immediate split so Jesse, Gabler, Sammy, and Cassidy are all vulnerable. But we really don't get any attention on Gabler or Jesse. So it sort of becomes an immediate debate between Cassidy and Sammy. And there's just a lot of discussion between people weighing, the pros and cons of each. From what I remember from my notes, Carla obviously was willing to make a move on Cassidy. I think Cody was pretty on board with making a move on Cassidy because he felt like it kind of cuts off an extension of Carla and forces her to work with them. Sammy obviously wanted Cassidy because that was sort of the best other option. And then on the flip side, of course, Cassidy wanted to get Sammy out. She had sort of talked about that earlier in the episode. He's sort of flip-floppy, not very trustworthy. But ultimately, I think the decision boils down to Jesse, who kind of realizes that, if Carla's willing to cut Cassidy right now, clearly she's not a big part of her end game plan. So why not take out sort of a uncertainty in this game in Sammy, where we don't really know where his head stands, and he's obviously willing to make some moves, and then allow Carla to make her move on Cassidy later, and keep that sort of tension in the game. It's just going to keep Jesse and his allies safe. But run me through y'all's thoughts on sort of this whole Sammy versus Cassidy debate.
I have a question before you start, Brice. Do we think that one of the main reasons Carla was willing to cut Cassidy was when Sammy told her that what did Carla ask Sammy? She said something
She
like,
said, "Who say my name?"
And he said it was Cassidy. Well, it was Cassidy and me. Kind of, do you think that was what made her think, all right, I'm willing to let go of Cassidy?
So I'm going to say no. And this is why I'm going to say no, is that, like, look who the source is. Carla is too smart of a fox to be fooled by a kitten or but some analogy like that. But she is like, I just feel like I feel like that just was for semantics, because it's just like, there's just no way that I would believe that Carla would believe that. However, I do feel like it did plant a seed, and Carla is like, and maybe it's not so much that she knows that she's an idol, but maybe it's, we're the only two females left. And like, you know what, maybe if I could get rid of Cassidy now, I can align here. Like, Carla is just thinking end game. I think Carla's one misstep with that was giving Jesse that power to realize that. Like, if I've been best friends with Wendeezy and now all of a sudden, Jack, I'm like, F him. Like, you're going to think, well, what the heck? Like, I think she should have put up a little bit more resistance, or she just should have put up a little bit more resistance, because, again, Jesse was right. Her saying like she could go really is like, well, okay, girl, you making moves.
And so, also, go ahead.
My next thing just was like, we just don't get to see a lot of the edit, but like, we do get to see Jesse like driving the boat of not wanting Cassidy and wanting it to be Sammy. Is Jesse really that powerful? And if he is, why is Gabler a la Gabler the only person that realizes that?
So, to your first point to Wendell's question that you just touched on, I definitely agree with you for the majority of like what you said. I think that I agree. I thought when Sammy said Cassidy, my first reaction was, Carla is too smart to buy into that. Like, I thought she was going to be like, huh? That's my closest ally. Like, why would she be the one? Like, clearly, this is not a very valid source, because Sammy's been, running amok. That she would not buy that. But what I do like, and then like you said, I do think it actually held more weight, because whether it was something Carla was already sort of thinking about or whatever, it definitely planted the seeds to get her thinking more and more and more, and sort of get paranoid about that issue, which I think primarily probably stemmed from the fact that Cassidy was the only person that would know she had an idol, as far as we know, I believe. However, I think when you then look at, if you're Carla, you look at Cassidy having an idol, I do think there's two things to sort of weigh, where I understand why you might want to take her out, because, if you think she's the only one who knows, then, and you're worried at some point she might turn on you, then inevitably you're going to have to cut her before she talks about the idol. However, if she really isn't with you, like Sammy is saying, then she would have already told people about your idol. And so at this point, the only way other people don't know about the idol is if she is with you. And so cutting her for that reason is sort of preemptive, because if she's not with you, the idol information doesn't matter because it's going to be out there. Now, like I said, there is maybe a case to say she's with me now, but she might not be in 2 days. Let me take her out before she can say anything. But as it stands, it's either she's with me and no one knows about the idol, or she's not with me, but everyone would know about the idol. So it's like, I don't know if Carla fully thought that sort of situation through.
But knowledge is power, and so even if she hasn't said anything, it's the potential that we get to final five,
Yeah,
and that, like, so
that is fair. That is fair.
but I do understand what you're saying. Like, if she hasn't ratted on me now, why? But we do know that Jesse knows that she has an idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly, yeah, I think Sammy's his nugget about Cassidy, grew into a bit bigger of a tree. The seed grew into a bit bigger of a tree than initially I think I would have expected, to answer the question.
Here is my other thought that I did also think of, is that, again, Carla does not believe Sammy, and Carla could have maybe never really wanted Cassidy and was just saying Cassidy amongst other people as like a decoy.
And then they just framed it a
And they
certain
just
way.
framed it a different way because it just, because I just also feel like the editing this episode was a little weird. Like, no one brought Sammy name up, and then all of a sudden now it's like he enemy of the state. And I got a question for y'all.
Sure, I do think that's a good point, though.
I agree.
Too.
That, like, she just is like,
it could have been funky, like,
right.
Editing. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it was unanimous.
Yep.
Yep.
But when we get to tribal, was Sammy quoting Wendell Holland? Was Sammy quoting Boston Rob? Was Sammy quoting Tyson Edispool? Was Sammy quoting Jeremy Collins? Was Sammy quoting Robert Sesternino? Was Sammy quoting Abby Maria Gomez?
Was Sammy quoting Dominic Abate? Was Sammy quoting Michelle Fitzgerald? Was Sammy quoting Tony Vlachos?
Was Sammy quoting Sarah Lucina? I think the answer is no. But my question to you is, was Sammy quoting Brice Isaiah?
I think I missed that.
No,
I'm kidding. But what are you referring to?
Baby, when I set my tribal ablaze, and before I gave them the ...
Yeah,
I gave them the talk of the town.
Really?
Okay, when I was spilling tea to Jeff, and Sammy, decided to pay homage to little old me, and that's what I'm going with. And if anybody else,
did he drop your name?
He said talk of the town. Ain't nobody else in 43 years of Survivor say talk of the town. 43 seasons of Survivor.
I think in his exit speech he said, and my mom hates electric cars, and shout out to Brice Isaiah, my favorite Survivor player ever. I think that was slipped in right before the next time on Survivor. People missed that.
Random. Wendell, are you cutting your nails?
No.
You stop. This is not your bathroom time.
Brice, I'm not cutting the nails. Look how long they are, right? I'm not cutting them. I did have a hangnail, so I cut
Pan the camera down. Pan the camera down.
No.
Pan.
Got caught red-handed.
Oh.
It was just one hangnail, Brice. It was just one hangnail.
It was just one hangnail.
Jack, you already had this conversation with him, though.
It's true.
This is not the first time that we've caught you cutting your nails.
He's distracted.
You know what?
Brice,
you know
it's
what?
my
Wendell,
ADD.
continue to cut them. Okay.
We might have to let him moderate so he can focus on
the
episode.
I'm looking at him, Jack, and I'm like, is he cutting his nails?
Don't look at me, Brice. Listen to me. It's been a long day. I've been trying to hang a stupid TV upstairs for hours, and it ain't working.
Hang a TV where?
In the living room.
But you already have a
I,
TV hung in the
I
living
got a
room.
Black Friday deal.
Hey.
So where's that other TV going?
I don't know yet. I think it's going in the workout room.
The workout, oh, well, because that TV needs to be replaced. That don't make so. You got a bigger TV for the living room?
No, it's not bigger. It's the same size.
So, but that TV was nice.
It was very nice. This one is supposed to be a nicer TV, but I hung it and it looks the exact same. It's the Samsung
So now
frame.
you gotta upgrade for the workout room at least.
Yeah. But
But he
this
don't even work
one,
out in the workout room.
I had to really like take apart like the whole living room. So I have two TVs just sitting in the living room. Joey and Dame were helping me earlier. They left so I could come down here and podcast. I got a hangnail when I was hanging the TV. I tried to fix it, and you're yelling at me and shunning me.
Yes.
But
Were
that's
you
okay,
did you
Bryce.
were you cutting your hangnail when you were hanging the TV?
I created one.
That's
I got
how
a
he
hand
created it.
injury, just like Jack.
Just
You
like
got a
me on
hand
my
injury too,
exam.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm
I-
suffering through this
Thank
podcast.
you.
but
Thank you, Jack.
I'm in a lot of pain with this
All right, Bryce.
boo boo.
I apologize, Bryce. To the listeners, I apologize
Thank
for
you.
getting my hangnail. I'll do better. Where
Wendell
were
might
we?
get canceled. Nah.
It's giving spring break.
Whoa, don't bring me into this. Anyways, so we're at Tribal, and Sammy. I think that the most notable thing from Tribal Council is that Sammy channeling his inner Bryce Isaiah is stirring up the chaos and announces that he is going to use his shot in the dark.
Mhm.
The jury seemed, quietly pretty excited about that, pretty supportive of Sammy. Now, I don't know necessarily. I'd like to get your thoughts on what you guys think about him sort of announcing it. But one thing I did notice that I liked about this conversation, like about his explanation, is something we've talked about on here in the past. When it's either you or someone else, and it's going to be basically a unanimous vote, your vote really doesn't matter. So you might as well use the shot in the dark. And he explained that, and the jury seemed to appreciate that logic by him. So I want to hear your thoughts about how he went about doing it, but I do want to just give props because I was glad he realized that his vote was not important. You might as well play the shot in the dark.
Before Wendell answers, I have a question for you, Jack, because when this happened, I was like, oh, I know Jack is going to love this. This is like, I feel like Sammy, I feel a lot like when you play Survivor, Jack.
Mhm.
I just feel like y'all games are very similar. Or we already talked about the
I see that,
similarities,
yeah.
and you guys like, he's a gameplay, he wants to play a big move.
Yeah.
Number wise,
Mhm.
it now I think y'all always explain this to me, and I think
The
I
shot
always
in the
have
dark.
it. Yes. So
It's
is it still always the same
Yeah.
1 in
odds?
6. 1 in 6.
Okay. So,
Always.
Yeah.
because
What if there's only 5 people left?
no, okay. No, but I was just saying, like, are his odds better now? But you're saying 'cause
no,
you broke it down
I will say the odds are always 1 in 6, but I guess how do I just explain it? The relevant now the camera's on me. Like the relative power of the shot in the dark decreases when the numbers dwindle because when there's fewer people, your vote, it accounts for a greater percentage of the total votes. So in that way, it's more powerful. And obviously, say there's just for example's sake, say there's 30 people, you might have a 1 in 30 chance of going home. But I guess it kind of naturally fixes itself because there's more people. But if you have a 1 in 6 chance, obviously that's like a good risk compared to the value of your vote. But of course, when there's fewer people, like say there's 5 people, your vote is more valuable, but also you're more vulnerable. So it might be more worthwhile taking that risk. I guess it sort of just naturally balances itself throughout the game where your vote is more valuable, but also that immunity is more valuable because there's fewer targets.
Okay.
So
Does that make
Brice,
sense? I didn't.
if Sammy uses his shot in the dark tonight, okay, when there are 7 people left and he gets voted out, tomorrow there are 6 people left, but Sammy already used his shot in the dark. But now Carla wants to use hers. What are the odds of her pulling immunity?
But isn't it always 1 in 6?
My man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, wait a minute. Now, if Sammy takes it out, then okay,
He was trying to trick you,
right,
but
with a
you got
leading question. Okay,
yeah.
but I'm sure I'll be back next season asking the same question. But okay, so um, I loved it. I loved how Sammy stuck it to the people, but also I loved how their faces, like it was like a poker game because I felt like their faces, and even kind of what Carla was saying, it was almost like they were still being composed, and I almost feel like Carla kind of getting on him a little bit, or like that little exchange
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like as if like that she was still doing what they was doing. Like it was just a lot going on, but I liked how both parties like played both they shit, and I was like, I
Yeah.
love it.
I'm
Because if my people
mixed.
say
I'm
they doing what they gonna do,
Hmm.
what I need to vote for.
Mm.
But nah,
Mm.
people, your vote really does count, so you should vote. But I mean,
here's my I get what you're saying, and I was thinking about this. I think my biggest issue with Sammy's, I like that he stirred ish up, but I think my biggest issue is that I don't think you should announce it because basically we don't know the full story. So here's like the two situations. In Sammy's mind, either you you think it might say it might be 50-50 between you and Cassidy, but you know your vote doesn't matter. In that case, I hate announcing that you're going to use the shot in the dark because I think by announcing it, you're showing your allies who, at this point, you think might vote with you. You're
you're
showing your
giving them
allies a degree of mistrust. So if I'm voting with someone, I tell I'm like, hey Brice, I'm voting with you, and I intend to vote with you, but you use your shot in the dark. That tells me that you're not confident in our relationship, like from a voting standpoint. Um, and to that point, I feel like when Carla, even though she phrased it pretty well, I feel like if someone's giving me pushback, I'm gonna be like, well, why do you want me to not use my shot in the dark if it really doesn't matter?
But I also, but right, but I feel like it was like reverse psychology because I felt like the pushback that she was giving was as if it's pushback that like
True.
I'm
No,
with you,
I did it. I do agree with the way that she framed it, but I do also think,
like the other side of
yeah. And look, I like, and I get what she said because, like I said, say you played the shot in the dark and I was with you, I might be like, but Brice, I'm with you. You don't need to do
right.
that. But if I wasn't with you, I might still be like, oh, but Brice, I'm with you. You don't need to
You
do
wouldn't need to
that.
do that, right?
But sorry, so that was sort of situation one where I don't like that he announced the shot in the dark because I think I think it hurts your alliances. Now, I think that's how it appeared on the edit, so I don't love that move. But I also think there's a chance that Sammy felt very strongly that he was the target, in which case I respect the fact that he just
Yeah,
stirred the pot. And maybe everyone's nervous enough about the shot in the dark that they say, hey, like, let's just vote for Cassidy.
right. There was, I like that Sammy went balls to the electric walls and he went out on his own terms with his head up and his shoulders back. And I hear what you're saying by not announcing, but I also feel like announcing it with people like Jesse in the game, Plan D might
But
come up.
that's why I think it's good if you really feel that you're going to go home. But if you think they're actually voting with you, you don't want
Oh
Jesse
yeah,
to
yeah,
make a
yeah, yeah.
plan D.
Well,
Now,
well,
and
I always like a Plan D, but
and then one last thing, sorry on this. Let me get your thoughts on this as well. say the second situation is true where, Sammy thinks it's going to be him and he wants to tell everyone that he's playing the shot in the dark, and he does play the shot in the dark in the hopes to change, people's plans. Why then does Sammy still vote Cassidy is my question. Because I think if I'm him and I really feel like I'm going home. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Sammy didn't vote. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was my fault. I
What
was
would
thinking
happen?
like
Would they have
ideally,
to? Would they all have to revote, and everyone would they would just have to vote, and Sammy just wouldn't be an option?
yeah. No, yeah, my fault. I completely forgot that Sammy wasn't voting because I was like, for
Because
some reason, I felt like he was going for Cassidy, and
Mhm.
I was like, but then if they're really against you and you're either going home or you're immune, you might as well leverage that immunity to take out a target and stir things up. But obviously, he didn't vote, so
right, because he has a
it,
1 in 6 chance.
yeah, it would be interesting though if he was immune to see what would have
But
happened. It
I
probably
think
would have been
like
Cassidy, but
Cassidy.
yeah.
Yeah. A couple questions. If Sammy's on the jury, which he is, and you have a Jesse and Carla at the end with someone like a Gabler, who do you see Sammy voting for?
I almost want to lean. I'd say he might go with Carla.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when they took James out, he was so surprised that like I don't know. I just feel like I on the TV have seen more of a rapport later in the game with him and Carla.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely would boil down between Jesse and Carla. I think Sammy thinks about the game pretty similar to how I think about the game. And at the end of the day, I think he's going to respect the person who played the hardest, regardless of his personal relationship. I do agree with Brice that I think he has a better personal relationship with Carla, but I would probably give the edge to Jesse because I feel like Jesse would explain his game in a way that would appeal more to Sammy. I also think that Jesse would own up to the fact that he sort of was, from what we saw, the tilting sort of force for why Sammy went home. And I think Sammy considers himself a very good player and would give Jesse credit for taking the shot at him instead of just settling for the easy move for Cassidy. So I think Sammy would have a lot of respect for Jesse getting him out, basically.
Raise your hand if you think Carla and Jesse are going to be sitting at the end.
Together?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I also think it's a final two still.
You think it's
know.
final two? I think it's. I think it's.
Wait, how many? We got what? 2 episodes left?
And
Kinda.
the final episodes are 3 hours.
Yeah, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's a final two. Because next episode, one person will go home and down to 5 for the finale. That would be a long episode if it went to final 2. I'm still caught up though because they merged at 13, and then the jury started at 11.
11. I ain't like that, and I would be pissed.
And I'm like, why not start it at 12 if it's a final 3? That's what they always do.
So
I guess it could be a 3-3-3. Sorry, but
I think if Jesse and Carla make it to the end, I think we're gonna see people that get like they're both gonna get votes, and I'm here for it. Like what, Brice?
No,
I'm
no,
too excited.
I
hate
know.
you.
No,
I hate you.
No,
I'm too excited. I just think
I
that
was
if we
with
see
you.
both of them, I just think if we see both of them, like we might see a Dom Wendell type of vote at the end. Like they're both of them will receive a lot of votes.
yeah.
So here's my question: if that is the case, who is with them? Who's the third person?
Gabler? Gabler's deciding.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see I don't know.
My other question was Cassidy and Carla. Like I see that I just want to know what is going to happen with the two of them within these next couple.
I completely
The
agree.
seeds are planted. Jesse has ammo. Like
you're right. Jesse has the seeds are for sure planted, and hearing Jesse's analysis of it, he knows it's a fragile situation, and I
give him a little pat, like give him something to manipulate. He's gonna manipulate it.
And we already seen, and like again, it's just so much, which is like again why the Game of Survivor is like so amazing, because Carla and Cassidy are the closest people out here right now. But sometimes it's like the closest people uh to you, if you don't have the trust, like the Game of Survivor. But like again, like look at Cassidy today. When she didn't win, like she was upset. And not that she was like upset because Carla won, whatever, because she gave it her all. And like we've all been in that situation. So it's like I completely get where she is coming from. And so we don't know what that might be.
I like that Cassidy too.
eh,
I'm angry that I didn't beat them.
right.
I want to
And
see what she does now.
it could illuminate, for all we know, Carla could have just been talking Cassidy, like whatever. And Child Cassidy could be like, Carla's the real threat. But also on the Twitters, have you heard about the Cassidy curse?
Yeah.
Anybody that has gone against Cassidy has gone home. Anyone that has taken shots at Cassidy directly has gone home. Ryan, Sammy,
Geo,
and there's somebody else.
Lindsay.
Yeah, she Lindsay. What, Lindsay? And so
don't play with Cassidy.
I mean, and again, so it's like, well, we'll have to see if the Cassidy curse really holds up, because it's like, was Carla taking a direct shot? Like, I don't know. But I really hope that they work together, because it's like they're the only two females left, and they don't have to work together because they're females. I want, like, I've heard Cassidy say many times, like, she wants to get, how dope would it be to have the final two females in the end? And so, like, I hope that we could get there. But also, it is Survivor.
Sorry, I've been thinking for the last couple, because you were throwing out like permutations of people that could be at the end, like a Jesse and a Carla at the end together. And I started just thinking about like sort of like what combinations I think could actually get to the end. And so I just brainstormed up what I think could be like a potential. I mean, this is an absolute shot in the dark. But I feel like I have a bold prediction, and I'm obviously not spoiled on anything. I have a bold prediction for how I think the season could play out. And I want to kind of throw it out there and see if you guys think it's a reasonable thing that happens.
I'm writing down all the last players, and then let's do it.
Okay, wait, don't put it just on me. It makes me nervous.
I love it though.
So I feel like next episode, and there's obviously still a lot of idols in play. We got Cody, Jesse, Carla, right? All have idols. I could see next episode Cody, Jesse, Owen, and Gabler splitting the votes on Carla and Cassidy. Carla plays her idol. Cassidy goes home. I could see at 5. I think they might take out
Cody?
a Carla. No, I think because I think Jesse and Cody could keep their idols too. I think Jesse and Cody are probably getting to 4 with the idols that they have and the alliance that they have. I think they could get a Carla at 5. And then I think at 4, now that there's no more idols, I could see Jesse going at 4, and then I could see Cody winning against Owen and Gabler. Just based on like, I don't read too much into the edit, but I feel like that we've seen so much of Owen and Gabler talking about going to the end, and it's like, but can either of them really win? And we've seen Cody getting such, Cody's been a consistent presence, a very likable presence, and someone who's always sort of an underrated strategist in my mind. Obviously, the big dogs are Jesse and Carla, but I think if the shots line up to get them out, I think Cody is a great contender.
I think Jesse will turn on Cody, and I think it's going to be next episode.
I mean, there's obviously so many options. Yeah.
Who do you think Owen is more likely to work with? Jesse and a Cody, or like a Carla and a Cassidy?
I think a Carla and a Cassidy, because if I'm Owen, I think he would be aware of the fact that his best final three is probably Gabler and Cassidy, and he needs to do whatever he can to make that happen.
So
And
if you're Owen, you like his best shot is Gabler and Cassidy.
yeah, and I'm not necessarily opposed to getting out a Carla, but I think the mistake a lot of Survivor players make in the end game is you need to be honest with yourself and identify who you can actually beat, and you need to stick your neck out to make sure that those people do not go home. Like you might make it to like the
Is that
finals by going with a Jesse and a Cody, but you might make it to the finals more often, but you're winning way less often than if you actually put your neck out to try to get to the end with Gabler and Cassidy. Like it might be harder, but it's giving you a better chance.
is that why Gabler is warming up to Owen now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gabler, you know, I don't think he has a great shot just because everyone's perception of him is that he's sort of a little bit loony in a sense, but Gabler like
Who
actually knows his stuff. Like
who's Gabler's best two options?
also Owen and Cassidy. And I think that's
And
why in a
who's
lot of
Cassidy's best option?
also Owen and Gabler.
Now, how can
Because
all three of those things be true?
because I think
Because it's the three of them, and those
they're
three
the
might
three
be.
worst players. So if you're smart, and I think that's why, and not that they're bad players,
And
but Cody,
who
Carla, and Jesse are playing such strong games.
They have much stronger arguments, if you ask
who
me.
will win out? Who will win out of that three?
Cody, Jesse, Carla.
Or
No,
Cassidy,
no.
Owen, and Gabler.
Cassidy, Gabler, yeah.
Cassidy or Owen.
That's such a toss up. I mean, I think whoever, if that three happens, I think whoever did the most to make it happen is the one who's going to win. Like if Carla, or if Cassidy refused to vote out Carla and just gets brought to the end, she's not winning. But if next episode she's like, all right, let's get out Carla and then let's get out Cody and Jesse, and she leads the charge, then she should win. And I think that applies to anyone in that trio. But to what you were saying about being that's a little confusing that all three of them, that's their best three. I think we see more and more in modern Survivor that I think the winners have been a lot more across the board, a little bit more middle of the road for the most part, because in the early days of Survivor, you know, Kim Spradlin could just get her people together and they like her so much that they don't realize they have to get her out. Now everyone is so attuned to the strategy of the game that people are usually aware of the fact that certain people are going to beat them. And so naturally the bottom people sort of get together and get those people out. And then that's sort of the remaining of the group, and whoever's the best out of that wins. And I think a good example of that is Millennials Gen X, where Adam Klein wins, because even though at times his game got a little sloppy, he always, I felt had the strategy of, all right, let me have two shields in front of me and let me have two goats next to me. And so the final five there, it's a Brett, David, Ken, and Hannah, and he makes sure that they get out Brett and David no matter what, and that just naturally leaves him as the next biggest threat in the final three with a Hannah and a Ken, and he wins unanimously. And I think that's how a lot of good players these days are trying to set up their wins. So the wins might not be as impressive as a Kim Spradlin or as dominant, but they're a little bit more strategic and a little bit more finesse.
Well, one would argue that they are just as big. It's just in a different,
Yeah, yeah,
that gives me a lot. I received that. That's okay.
yeah. And like you said, in a way, it's even more impressive because if so much of now of Survivor is just managing your threat level, so it might take you not making some moves to make sure that you're in that final five and you're the third biggest target and you get those two targets out. And maybe you haven't had as much agency or big moves in the game, but if you're able to slot yourself right there and do it flawlessly, that in and of itself is extremely impressive.
So Owen still, if Owen can get them to Owen still has a shot in this.
I think everyone has a shot. I really, because if it is a game, now I do feel like most likely one of Carla, Jesse, or Cody will be in the final three. Considering they all have an idol, I would be surprised if, there's most likely going to be at least two of them in the final four, I would guess. And so one of them would have to make it to the three, in which case they would probably win. But, there's that combination of Cassidy, Owen, and Gabler where I think anyone could theoretically take it. Even a Gabler.
Does Cody have his idol?
I was going to ask the same thing. I don't know if Jesse actually gave it back to him yet or not.
And technically, Jesse could play that idol.
Cody's idol?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he still has it, yeah.
Even if Cody asks for it back, like Jesse didn't steal the idol.
Yeah, it's his. Right. It's his now. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where I'm like, and maybe this is intentional from the editors. We don't know where the idol is. I don't think, and maybe that'll come into play where it would obviously be insane if Jesse is straight up like, nah, you can't have your idol back. I'm gonna play it on myself, and you're going home. And Cody would be like, damn, brother, like
dying.
I thought you were more chill than that, bro, but it's cool.
You better stay out here and live. That's so crazy. Come on, Jack, with the analysis and the breakdown with the numbers and the jumpers of what's left. This was a great episode. I feel like, we'll be seeing you very soon, Jackery. I also feel like we should, although it'll be hard for the audio portion of it, but I feel like we should, for the next Survivor News, like all be in the same room.
For the next one?
Because we'll have time. So Posse, bear with us. If the Survivor News, it might come Sunday, but the baby boys, we're going to make it happen.
I'd love to make that happen.
We'll all be sitting together.
Could even be the next two.
And on that note.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, when DZ has a hang tell, he got a clip. Jack got to go through his closet and get his cap and gown because the Lord knows where it's at this point. And to the Purple Pants Posse and anyone listening, hopefully we will see you in person either next Wednesday, which happens to be December 7th in DC, or in LA for the finale. Please make sure you pay close attention to the Brice and Win Present Instagram and Twitter, just in case we have to make some updates or some announcements. Keep your eyes on the prize and keep it posted to the Brice and Win Present page. As for Jackery and Wendeezy,
it's been a pleasure.
Ooh, although we go to the end.
Oh, I thought we were like,
hell, I can't let go. It's a Jackery. You belong to me. Okay, Jack. Wendell going to Venmo you $20 if you know who sings
the group.
Song. The group.
Oh, can I get? I wasn't paying close. Can I get another snippet?
Although we go to the end
of the road.
Oh man,
still I
can't let go.
Oh,
it's unnatural.
I've heard enough. I don't know if I know it, but I just.
We'll give you a hint.
Well, I mean, I'll take a hint.
Okay. Well, now it's down to $5. Okay. Now it's down to $5.
I'll take a donation to my Hearts of Reality page.
All right. I'll give you another hint.
No.
Wait, can I give a first guess?
Well, no. But the first hint is they're from Philadelphia.
That's the first and only hint.
Okay.
First guess.
Well,
don't be looking. Don't be looking.
I'm not looking.
Put your hands up. Put your hands up.
I was thinking. Well, I don't know a ton of groups that like only because it's been discussed. I would guess Destiny's Child.
Oh
No.
no! All right, I'll give you another hint.
I don't even know if I've heard of that.
Philly back again.
Again.
Ooh, doing a
Do
little East Coast tour.
Right,
I know. Now it is. They did sample this group, but you wouldn't know that. But they actually did sample this song.
I don't know if I would have ever heard of this. Well,
Boys,
I feel like if I have heard of this group, it's like way back in my mind. I'm not just gonna be able to like say it.
To men going down.
Oh wait, Boys to Men. Well, no.
That's it, you fool.
Oh, it
You
is.
literally sung the name of their group multiple times.
Isn't Boys? Wait, is Boys to Men that's a men's that's a guy group?
Yes, we're singing.
Oh, I thought the way you were singing it, I thought you were like trying to sound like women, like it was like higher pitched.
That's just how I talk.
So I was thinking of like female groups.
You know what,
They could
y'all?
just sing.
On that note,
Get me
I'm
out of
sorry.
here.
Okay.
Get me out of here.
I'm just trying to come up with excuses for my lack of culture.
okay, but also Wendell, we definitely boys go men down, although we go.
Go.
Jack talk about how we sing.
It was breathy. It was breathy.
And
this
thank
has
you.
been-
Thank you.
Okay, now I want to give Jack another
Trivia.
okay, tell me if you know this song.
Ooh. Da da do.
No.
Wait, I know that song. I think.
No, you don't.
Wait,
You don't
wait, was it sampled in a newer song?
From
Is that-
the very
first
first time.
that I saw your
Wait, is that the one with the chorus? Is like,
What's how the
I can't
chorus
sing.
go?
It's like if we fly back, we could be somewhere in the you or no, that's the sample. That's like You and I,
That's Jeremiah.
but he sampled that sound, right? That's in the
No.
song.
No.
He might
did?
have. I don't know, Jack.
I don't-
Okay, my
I know the new
last.
stuff.
Hold on, wait. Let me.
What song is that? No, Jeremiah definitely sampled that song. That's the intro to that,
That was
song.
that was Boys to Men again.
No, that wasn't Boyz II Men.
Who was
The
that?
very first.
First
Is it Shy?
time. Oh, I don't know.
I
Okay,
saw
last
your
one.
brother.
Here and now. I'm about to be. You don't know this one, Wendell? Okay,
Yeah.
listen.
Faithfully.
No. Here and now. I'm about to.
Faithfully. Oh my gosh, you don't know it. I know exactly who it is.
Oh, ask me about songs that came out before I was born.
need.
Oh wait,
Here and
Here and
now.
now.
I've heard this song. I don't know what it's
I'm
called.
about
About
to
to
be
be
one.
Oh,
faithful.
Polly. Oh, do that part again. Where you went?
Is this a woman or a man?
Here
It's a
and
man.
now. Ooh. Come on,
Okay.
Jack.
I think I've heard the song. I got no idea who it is.
Okay.
Boys to Men.
No, it's Luther Vandross.
Luther.
Luther.
Who?
Ah!
Oh my
Okay, nope,
God.
we're going.
Get out of here.
We're going.
You guys are setting me up.
We are going.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the
You guys
point.
set me up.
I'm
All
done.
right. This
I'm done.
is just a fun.
I'm getting set up.
Survivor News. 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 Survivor News.
Dot, dot,